could be starting a business out, you could be 5 years into your business, but when you come to one of our tours, you're still going to leave with some type of knowledge.
Hey there, podcast listeners. Want to hear more from Hidden Images Podcast? Download Next Level Internet Radio app and start tuning into some of the hottest underground artists from all over. Plus, Hidden Images Podcast airs every Monday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Download now.
Do some claps.
Yay, I love the claps. I love it, I love it, I love it.
And there we go.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Hidden Images Podcast, powered by Next Level Internet Radio. I am your podcast host, Sabrina Ford, and today we're bringing you nothing but the biz. Again, it is Monday, December 26th, and according to the calendar, it's Christmas again today. So from Next Level Internet Radio Station and from Hidden Images Podcast, we hope you had a wonderful Christmas yesterday and a Merry Christmas again today. 2 Christmases in 1 year. I love it. Celebrating it again all over. I still have some gifts I need to deliver. I'm going to play Santa again today, and I hope everyone has a safe and wonderful happy Monday. And again, I hope you all enjoyed your Christmas holiday. If you're tuned in here on live, if tuned in here on the radio station, head on over to, I'm going live from my personal page today, so head on over to Sabrina Ford. Tune into this live feed because I want to know, what does Christmas mean to you? What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about Christmas? I'm going to ask you to that really quick before we dive in further into the show. So, Douglas, what does Christmas mean to you?
Oh, wow. Time to give.
Time to give.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Time to give.
That's my thought. It was like Christmas for me, it means like giving back, enjoying our loved ones. Now that I'm older, it really means much more. Of course, when I was a child, for me, it was just all about gifts. What am I going to get? What new doll am I going to get or what? But now that I'm older, the understanding of Christmas for me is just so much more. It's about that family time, about spending time with your loved ones, whether it's family or your friends. I love that anybody who doesn't have a family and they have friends that they can spend the holidays with, that's rewarding as well. And so I'm going to ask you the same thing, LD. What does Christmas mean to you?
Pretty much the same thing, giving back, loving on people, being kind, and just reflecting on the blessings that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's absolutely about. So again, we wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Merry Christmas again. I love this. I wish we could do this every year. Bring Christmas on a Sunday so we can do it all over again on a Monday. But before we get started, of course, I've got a couple of hidden news you could use. So we're going to start it off with this. I Am Radio and Master Tax Group presents 2023 Business Speed Networking Expo on January 21st. That's from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And I will be a guest speaker at that event. I'm super excited. Y'all know that I'm growing. Part of my journey in growing is becoming a public speaker. That's part of the reason why I created the podcast, is to get over my fear of speaking. So as soon as January 21st hits, you guys, that will officially be my first public speaking engagement outside of the Women with Purpose tour. So I'm super excited about that. Thank you again to I Am Radio and Master Tax Group for allowing me to speak. If you haven't purchased your ticket, head on over. You can head on over to my page, Hidden Images Podcast. The flyer is on there. Look for the 2023 Business Speed Networking Expo flyer. Again, it's hosted by I Am Radio and Master Tax Group. So we also have the Women with Purpose Tour. We are back in Arlington, Texas on March 19th at the International Bowling Museum. And starting in 2023, we're doing something new. We're rewarding one lucky woman at each event. Now we do 3 events a year. with her business LLC. So if you haven't purchased your ticket, because again, ticket sales and vendors, guest speakers, you all will qualify to enter into that raffle to win your LLC. But you can also purchase more raffle tickets for more chances to win. So that's very exciting. Influencer marketing is real and effective. I'm going to be saying that for the next couple weeks, because when we go into the tour in March, that is what I'll be talking about more, is influencer marketing, because again, it is a real and effective way of advertising your brand. Again, I have an influencer template for you all. It's regular price $75, but anybody who mentions the podcast, I can send you over that template with a list of some of my favorite influencers here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And you guys can have that template for only $50. You guys, trust and believe, when it comes to influencer marketing, it is real and effective. Get that template and watch your brand grow starting today. All right. So every woman should experience a boudoir session. You guys know I'm a boudoir photographer. I'm growing into being a boudoir model. You guys just saw a couple of pictures that I posted, and I want to say thank you again for allowing me to share my boudoir photography and the modeling with you all without any judgments, without any negative feedback. I haven't gotten any negative feedback from anybody. And I believe part of it is because I'm doing it in a classy and tasteful way. And so that's really what I want you all as other women to enjoy, is the classiness and the tastefulness of a boudoir session. So if you've never experienced one, please book with me, Hidden Images Boudoir. Go ahead and book that, okay? Because I need you guys to book your boudoir session today. If you're interested, or if you have started a business here in Texas and you need a registered agent, head on over to hiddenimagespodcast.agency. I have offered registered agent services here in Texas only, because I can only be a registered agent for you if you're operating in Texas. So head on over to my website and book that service for your business today, because you have to have a registered agent. Now that's all the hidden news I have that you could use today. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with more Hidden Images podcast.
Grew up in a regular 2-parent household, but about age 8 or 9, I noticed that things that would not bother other people really had an effect on me. I was overly emotional. About the time my youngest son was born, I was unable to work, and that affected my self-esteem. And I began to self-medicate, and I realized all I was doing was just dulling the pain. At 25 years old, my symptoms really got to the point where it was dangerous to myself, and officially diagnosed as bipolar 1, dissociative identity disorder, and PTSD. I found that you really have to add the talk therapy in to actually process those issues. It's really a twofold process, really multiple folds involved, because with that comes the self-reflection. With that comes the institution of new routines and self-discipline. And also the most difficult part, and the part in all this that we can't control, is the relationships that we have with those around us. Mental illness needs to be treated more like a physical illness. I came up with the idea for Metta a couple years ago. God told me to help those with mental illness. Metta is a Buddhist word that means to include all. I wanted something to where I could help speak for those with mental illness that can't speak for themselves. So right now we focus on advocacy, programs, support groups, and recidivism. And what makes us unique, what makes us different, is that we focus not exclusively, but we go to the Black community. And I feel as though I'm able to connect with people that we help, and all people, because I'm like them. They're like me. We are the same. We've walked the same path. And I feel like that with all people. We've all had our tragedy.
All right, you guys, welcome back to Hidden Images Podcast, powered by Next Level Internet Radio. If you're just tuning in, you're going to be tuned into a great episode today. Remember, again, the Women with Purpose Tour is back in Arlington, Texas on March 19th, all right? 2023. Go ahead and save that date. All right, so we're here with educational specialist, certified family life educator, and owner of New Focus and Youth Consultant, Miss L.D. Woods. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're going to get started and dive into the questions. I love it. How are you doing, Miss L.D.?
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is your girl, L.D. Woods, owner of New Focus Family and Youth Consultant, and I'm looking forward to the show today.
All right. Well, thank you. What I like to do is I like to just let everybody kind of reintroduce themselves again, tell just people a little bit more about you and about your brand, and then we'll just dive further into it.
Okay. Well, again, I am an educator as well as a family life educator, and what that means is I pretty much focus on youth and family. I do speaking engagements, trainings, just other informational sessions to just let people know about some important things that can help empower youth and families.
And when you say you're an educator here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, correct? I love it. I love it. My aunt, she's a teacher. Nice.
23 years in education.
In Terrell?
I am Terrell Academy in Fort Worth.
Oh, okay. I am Terrell Academy.
Yes,
I haven't heard of
STEM
that.
and Visually Performing Arts High School, and I'm a student support specialist, 9 through 12.
Well, good. How long have you been an educator?
12 years.
Nice.
But I started out with the little babies. I was in childcare for about 11 or 12 years and worked my way up as an administrator. And I've been in public ed 12 years. But I've done family and youth ministry. I've done community engagement back in Louisiana. Shout out to the boot. That's my home state.
I love it.
Gotta shout out Louisiana. You were teasing me before about the way we talk, But I am a Bayou girl to heart. And I've been here in the DFW for a year and a half.
I mean, I say this all the time, like Louisiana, and I said it to you earlier, like it's just a different culture, the vibe, the people, the food, the accent. Like I listen.
And I'm not going to change it. Like,
no, please don't. Yes.
But very proud to be from Louisiana, but I'm also adjusting here to Texas. So it's been a good journey.
So what was it like growing up in Louisiana? Because I've only visited Louisiana, and it's only been like Shreveport. And I think when I was younger, I went with a friend. I think we were in Monroe, if I'm not mistaken. But I really have never really experienced Louisiana.
Okay, well, I grew up in a very small farming town, central Louisiana, called Cottonport. Full of fields, just back roads, and it was a village experience. And that's another thing that has kind of honed me into doing New Focus. We don't have that village anymore.
Yeah.
I grew up with my grandparents raising me, but I had extended aunts and uncles, neighbors, like everybody had an impact in my life, you know. And unfortunately, young people now, for different reasons, don't have that. People kind of move away from their families, and they don't have that community. And then again, too, you can't trust everybody around your children. Yeah. So it just makes it harder, but I had a really great upbringing. I'm the oldest of 31 grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
So I've been around kids since I was a kid,
Nice.
I have a lot of, generations now with their younger kids. So we always have big family gatherings, and it's like a summer camp with all the kids.
We have a smaller family on my mom's side, but I love big families. Like I've always wanted to experience that big family. Like I think my grandmother, she's not here anymore, but there's only maybe 10 grandchildren. Not very many. I'm on the younger side of the grandchildren. There's a few younger than me, but I'm kind of like middle younger because I have quite a few older cousins, and then my sister, of course. But yeah, I'm kind of like middle younger, but the bigger families are just something that I just love. You just get more people to love on.
Yes, a lot of personalities.
Exactly.
A lot of personalities. We have huge personalities in our family, but again, that was like the catalyst for wanting to start this business, because that's what I love. I love families. I love
and that's
people.
exactly what I was thinking in my head. What was it? It had to be your family support, the upbringing that you had, part of the reason why you wanted to start your brand. And so, dive more into that, because a lot of people, I like to ask that question because for a lot of the listeners and for a lot of people, it's always a turning point. There's always something that happened or some experience that cause you to go into a certain direction, whether good or bad.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so for you, the catalyst was just your upbringing, your family.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I always knew that I actually wanted to have a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, my plan was I'm going to work in education until I'm like 60, then retire, and then have a nonprofit.
Yeah.
But just prior to 2020, when COVID took place, started having some transitions in my life personally. Some health things were taking place, and I just started looking at things a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
And then when COVID happened in March of 2020, like in Louisiana, we were on a real shutdown. Like we were not able to like literally go outside.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a lot of just downtime. You know, I'm single, so I was just there, just me. I couldn't really be around anyone because it was just really bad, particularly when it first started off.
Yeah.
But it gave me a lot of time to reflect on where I was personally, professionally. I was also about to finish my specialist degree in education. So I had some career choices I needed to make, and it just started coming to me like, you don't know if you're going to be around till you're 60 to start this business.
That's true.
And I just started thinking like, what could I do? And I was already involved in a lot of things in Louisiana. Had just started a speech in public debate for youth.
Okay.
Me and shout out to my girl Tanika Johnson. She's a community engager in Baton Rouge. We were working with the mayor, working with the chief of police, just trying to do a lot of things in the community. And of course, when COVID happened, we had to take it virtually, so it wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
But we still tried to interact. But in the meantime, I'm thinking like, how can I kind of build my own thing? And I didn't know I was going to be moving to Texas at the time,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it just all started coming together. So when I got here, came up with the name, got my LLC, and just started rocking and rolling last May. So it's only been like 7 months that I've been like out there, and it's been a journey. I've been networking with a lot of great people. Got to meet you, Furman Jackson, on his podcast, and it's just full steam ahead. It's only up from here.
Yes,
It's
and you
only
mentioned
up.
Furman. Shout out to Furman Jackson over there, Walking His Ways Impact Voice podcast, because that is how we connected.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing I love about networking with other entrepreneurs is let's invite each other into each other's circles and create bigger circles.
And I have some queens for you to meet too, because
There
we're
you
going to get
go.
some vendors for the Women of Purpose tour.
Well, thank
So
you.
I'll
I
be connecting you
appreciate
with
it.
them, and I've already kind of shouted you out to them. So we're going to make it happen.
Oh, definitely. That's what it's all about. You know, I preach, and I'm going to say preach collaboration because I do.
Definitely.
I mean, no person has gotten anywhere in life without collaborating with somebody else. Even the big famous entrepreneurs and celebrities that we see, they've all collaborated with other celebrities and other entrepreneurs to grow their brands and to get to where they are. And so I'm going to ask you that, how important for you is collaboration? How important it is, you know, to network with other people?
Well, for what I do, it's definitely important, you know, because when you're talking about particularly impacting youth, this whole youth empowerment movement is so big, you know, it's huge. And like I said, you have to be able to have an all hands on deck approach.
Yep.
You know, I don't know everything. You know, my lane is empowering through information. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. So when I go places and I meet people, I am using them as a resource. Because once I put the information out there, okay, now you can go and have this resource as a therapist, as a counselor, to further you along on the journey. And just even with what you're doing with the Women of Purpose tour, you know, there's other women, like I said, that are business owners that can be a vendor, that can promote their brand through that. Yeah. So when I'm meeting people and I'm taking their business cards or giving them mine, my mind is already rolling like, okay, I can connect them with this person. You know, and I hope and they're doing the same for me. Because, you know, like I tell people what I do, and they're like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Here's my card, you know, pass it along to someone that you know. So it's really important. It's the only way that you're going to promote your brand, through getting out and just networking with people and just seeing how they can fill in that missing piece to what's needed to be done.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that, because I love to, one of my title tags, I'm a connector. Like, I love connecting people.
I saw that.
Yeah, I just, wait, you do this? Hold on just a second. You might can benefit from working with this person,
Yeah,
you know?
your mind just goes into this way, you know, and that's how it should be. Because the only way I believe you're going to be successful if you're able to take other people along with you.
Yeah. Because I tell people all the time, like, you know, we may meet and I might not be of service to you, but if I can offer you somebody else that can be of service to you, that's service to you. That's still me providing a service.
Exactly.
It may not be me, but here's somebody else.
Your resource.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
That's how you have to look at it, definitely. So it's important. You know, that's, like I said, I'm new here. So I literally left everything, all my connects in Louisiana to come here. And I mean, I still have my connects there, but just to start from scratch, I had to literally say, okay, I have to get out there and let people know who I am and what I'm about and feel the energy. That's why I wanted to be here in person today, because that's another big thing. The energy when you're networking. Some people you meet and it's like, okay. But then other people you're like, we're going to connect. Yeah. We have to do something, you know. And I love those type of encounters. Because it just lets you know, like, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. And for any entrepreneur out there listening, and anybody here listening on live, it's okay to say no, and it's okay to not work with everybody that you meet. I don't want anybody listening to think that everything is all the bells and whistles. You will encounter entrepreneurs. You're like, well, maybe this person doesn't fit my mission, but you fit somebody else's mission, so I'm going to connect you with them instead. So for any entrepreneur out there, again, that's listening, I like to tell people to do their research. You know, when you meet people, go home. If they give you their business card, their website, start doing your research on them. Make sure that the engagement, and make sure that what you guys are talking about or did talk about is actually going to be a good fit, because you might realize that it may not be a good fit in the end.
Or it may not be the timing for it.
Or the timing, exactly. That's a good one there, yeah. So you're here in Texas, you're meeting other entrepreneurs, you're building your brand. What else do you have upcoming for your brand?
Well, 2023, I'm going to be on a really big brand promotion. I'm about to get some merch. Shout out to my logo person, Tiffany Whitaker, Mind Blown Inc. She does all my shirts and all my branding. So I'm going to be doing that. I have speaking engagements that I'm currently working on. One of the big things that I really want to do, in addition to the speaking engagements, is just to facilitate conversations. A lot of times as speakers, of course, we're there speaking, but there's a lot of people that need to be listened to. So I kind of like those small group sessions. And I guess maybe that's the educator in me, because the way education is now, the teacher's not standing up there like giving directions, giving instruction only. The students are a part of the learning process, you know. And I was a 4th grade teacher for many years. My role now, I work with teachers primarily to make sure they're supporting the students and what they need. Even though I'm the specialist, I have some first-year teachers that's rocking it. Yeah. Because they're coming in with all the innovation, with technology. They're learning new things. So I literally sit around and facilitate with them and listen to them and take ideas and, you know, validate what they're feeling. So I want to do some small group facilitations. Black History Month's coming up. So I have a whole movement. I'm starting with that, the Torch Movement, tackling opposition with resilience, character, and heart.
I like that.
And then also, February is the month of love, of course, Valentine's Day. And New Focus Family Youth Consultant isn't just about youth empowerment, it's about family empowerment. Yeah. And a big part of that is building healthy families. Yeah. So I have a pre-engagement assessment that I started it out for me, but through the prompting of my cousin, shout out to my cousin Keisha, she was like, you got to bring this to other people. And it's just a really good assessment, just to kind of give people an idea of some things they should be looking at prior to even being engaged. It's not the premarital thing. It's like before you even say I do or yes, we will, let's talk about these things. And it's pretty deep. I sent it to you. It's pretty deep.
Oh, yeah. I wish I would have had that 7 years ago.
Hey, but, look, it's never too late. You may get a redo. You may get a redo. And again, it's an assessment. It's just a way to look at 4 critical areas. Yeah. You know, the foundation of your relationship. Yeah. Finances, which is major. Yeah. Forever, you know. Are you really in this through thick and thin? Can we rock out together? And the last one thing is just future. Yeah. What goals do you have, and do they align so that you can have a healthy future together?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think a lot of people, we tend to just kind of mesh our worlds together without communicating about a lot of those things. You know, finances being one of the big ones, like you said. The goals, what are your future goals? What are your plans? Do you want to have kids? Do you not want to have kids? I think a lot of those questions, for me, it's okay to ask them, even on a first date. Like, what do you think is Do you think those questions are okay to ask on a first date? Because I know that's a big topic. Like, what should you ask on a first date? And I honestly feel like whatever you want to ask.
Of course.
Like, why waste each other's time?
Exactly. I definitely think, now it's a way to present it. You don't want to come off like you're interrogating the person.
Right.
But I think just
true.
through your casual conversation, you should be able to talk about those things. And just kind of get that feedback. Like, okay, is there a potential for a second date based off of how they respond?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, time is the one thing that we cannot get back.
Yeah.
You can get back money. I've known people, whether it's celebrities or people in my own personal life that have had financial hardship and bounced back. Yeah. But you can't get back time.
Oh, no time can be given back.
That's it,
Yeah.
So
shout out to everybody here on Facebook Live. Ron Thompson, we appreciate you for tuning in. And he comments and said, "The wizard in the house. I love it." And then he asked, "What do you do?" So we'll go back and let everybody know what you do, and we'll repeat that. And then Furman Jackson says hello to both of us. Hey, Furman, shout out to you, Furman. Yes. Thank you for this connection. We appreciate you.
Some great things.
So let's go back and let's just reintroduce what is that you do, just in case people have missed it here.
Okay. So again, my name is LD Woods, and I am a educator, K-12 educator, as well as a family life educator, certified family life educator. And what that means is that I am certified to provide information and resources to empower youth and families to be in a healthy state. Yeah. You're going to hear that word a lot. There's no perfect family, no perfect child, perfect marriage, but we're talking about healthy. Yeah. And that's what this society needs. We need people that are healthy, that are disciplined, and that can go through some things and bounce back and say, okay, we're going to keep it moving.
Yeah. I know me, the one thing that I'm developing for me is understanding. Mm-hmm. Understanding other people and understanding, trying to understand what they're going through. And that everybody's life is different. Everybody goes through different problems, and everybody handles them differently.
Exactly.
And so me developing an understanding of people is really what I'm working on now, so that I know how to address certain situations, address certain people. And even if they have an issue or a problem and they're, using me as a listening ear, how to be a better listener. To understand better, so that I can go out and help other people and other women and other entrepreneurs.
And that's going to come through your speaking. Like I was saying before, the speaking is one thing, but then when you get in those intimate settings and you facilitate, you're learning from people. You're just vibing off of each other, and it gets you to see different perspectives of how people are and why they do what they do. You may not agree with it, but you're like, okay, I see why they're the way they are. And that helps in any relationship, families, parenting, child relationships, significant others. We're all different and we're all unique. And we need to pride ourselves in that, but also respecting that other people are the same way. Yeah. We make it about us. I'm me and I'm going to be me. Well, what about them?
That's true.
So, and that's a process. I used to be the same way, but I think I've been like, okay, this is how they are. That's not going to change. And either roll with it or you don't.
And I agree with that. I actually said that Douglas had interviewed myself and a few of the other ladies on the last tour. And, that's the one thing that, I want people to understand about me is I am who I am, but I don't mean any harm. Like when you work with me, I expect certain things.
Of course.
And I may be a little tough. I may give a little tough before the love, but especially when I'm working with other adults. With kids. Oh, man.
Yeah, like I said,
it's like
I always go back to my 4th grade teaching days. Like I would literally go back and teach 4th grade now if I could. Yes. I love it so much. But when you're working with adults, it shows you so much of your patience. More patience than with kids.
Yeah. So, I agree with that.
That's a process. You be like, how old are you still acting like that? Some people may say that about us,
True, that's true.
It's like, yeah. It's definitely a learning process.
But the one thing that I do want people to understand about me and about anybody else is that respect people's progress. Respect, like I have to explain to people that I'm not the same 16-year-old or 18-year-old Sabrina. Right. Respect the woman that I'm growing into.
Yeah.
Like, forget the past. Like, please don't compare me to 16. I'm not 16. Like, don't do that. But respect the woman that I'm growing into. If you can't look at me for the present and look at the future that I'm going into, then yeah, I don't think I want to have any conversations with you at all, because you'll never get over my past. I'm not that person anymore, and so I have to look at other people the same way as well.
It's interesting you said that. As I said earlier, I'm the oldest of 31 grandchildren, so all of my cousins, to me, they were still like my little cousins.
Yeah,
when they're grown adults, they have families, kids. And I was running into problems because me being the oldest, my grandfather kind of put me in charge years ago. And I was still having that mindset with them, even as they're adults. And just started having some conflicts. They know I meant well, but it was almost like I was becoming like the outcast in the family. Like she tried to run everything. And they know I meant well, but still. And I had to get to the point and say, you know what? They're adults.
Yeah.
So even not to say little cousins anymore, you know, and the relationships have been blossoming so much. Some of them still some knuckleheads, but I love them. But still, you know, it's like I've been there, done that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, it's just, again, everything is a process. Yeah. You know, but you have to make that first step to say, this is how I want to be treated, and then people have to act accordingly. If not,
yeah. I had to lay off on my little sister a little bit because I was so like I'm such even with my older sister, I'm like I had to back off
you're
a
in the
little
middle?
bit. Yeah, I'm on my mom's side. Yes, I'm the oldest on my father's side, but with my sisters on my mom's side, because I grew up with them, I'm just like, we didn't have a brother. So I was always like brother. So I was like trying to be this tough sister for them. Like, you're not going to mess with my sisters. Like, I got y'all sister down. You don't worry about it. But now that we're older, I can't. I gotta calm down. Like, we're adults now. Like, they're not. She's not my little
mama
sister.
bearing us, you know.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with it, but again, people have to go through their trial and errors.
Yeah,
you don't want them to, but that's the only way they can learn and be better for themselves. So
yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah. So why youth? Because I always advocate, because I hear a lot of other nonprofit organizations that they're like for adult mental wellness and health, adult advocacy, recidivism, things like. And I'm always thinking, why don't we start when they're younger, so it doesn't get to the point of when they're adults. Right. Not to say that we still don't need it out there for adults, but why the youth? Why start with them?
I guess primarily, like I said, because I've been around kids like my entire life, and then also being in education. I started off in childcare. So imagine starting off working with 2 and 3 year olds. Yeah. And then as I progress to work with older kids, and then the way life has changed. So this will be 23 years this April that I've been working with children and families. Yeah. And I've seen how society has changed. I've seen that the focal point has to be that teenage, young adult group. Yeah. Because number one, they're running the world now with this technology, with financing, with marketing. You know, I mean, you were talking about branding before, but there's some 11 and 12 year olds that are millionaires just off of their brand on TikTok.
And YouTube.
You know, and YouTube.
Right. You're not lying.
And that's the goals for a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, they have all this money, they have the technology, they have all the whatever. They still need guidance.
That's true.
Because developmentally, they're not there. They still need that support, you know. And as an educator, I've seen it all from A to Z. Probably haven't seen it all, but I've seen enough to know if we don't get a handle on some of the things that they're thinking that they have control of, it's gonna be crazy in the next 10 years. Yeah. You know, so that's why it's important to not just focus on them, but on their families. Because even though they're children, they're still a part of a family.
That's true.
So to get them right, you have to bring the whole family in, and then bring in other people. Because like I said, that village is not there anymore.
And that's what I was going to lead into, you know, that village, you know, where, and I know this is something that we both can't answer, but where was the disconnect? Do you think you might have an idea as to why we stopped using the village to raise our kids?
Right. I mean, there's a lot of different things that I think kind of hinder us from doing that. Number one, a lot of people say, well, you can't tell someone's child nothing these days because they don't want you to recommend their child. I always say, are you commending their child first? You know, like growing up, I had people that showed me love. My family saw them showing me love. So that's why when they had to reprimand me about something, it was okay. You know what I mean? And I think you have to do that first to let people know I care about you, but if I see you doing something wrong, I'm going to call your hand on it. Yeah. We don't have that. You know, everybody is kind of in this mode. Long as me and mine is good, we're okay. Well, you and yours don't live out in the world by themselves.
Yeah.
You know, so you have people that, again, just kind of self-absorbed with them and their families and don't want to tell anybody else child anything, don't want to mentor. Everybody's not going to work with you. Trust me. Everybody can't. But there's something you can do. There's some resource that you can provide. And because of that, the villages kind of went down because, again, people are literally like afraid of young people now.
Yeah.
I hear people say like, you know, these young people. And a lot of it, there are some young people that are, you know, they about their life. I worked in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Shout out to VR. I love it out there, but it was just a whole different thing from where I came from.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, it was good things too, but what I learned about those young people there, going back to the village, a lot of them did not have that village at all. It was just them, their mom, their siblings, maybe one or two other people. They were pretty much left on their own.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't end up well for a lot of them. I've worked with young men, unfortunately, and young women that have caused some major, major criminal cases. And in Louisiana, if you're sentenced for murder or anything really bad, you're going to be looking at 25 to life.
At minimum.
At minimum.
Wow.
You know.
Wow. And that's like the first strike or the...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did hear that the laws in Louisiana are stricter and harsher. Unfortunately, the crime rate is very bad out there.
For a state our size, it's like really, really bad, particularly with juvenile or young adult crimes. Under 25, yeah. Mass incarceration, mass, you know, just disparities, you know, over and over again being arrested. You know, so that leads to not being able to get a job, and you have all these felonies, and you know, just puts them in dire situations for generational curses to occur.
Yeah. The one question I've tried to ask, and I've gotten different answers, is like, and I need to connect with more men who've been in this position, but a lot of the times it's our men, even in the Black, Hispanic, and even in other cultures, the men. Why is it that men always tend to fall victim to the streets or to incarceration more so than women?
A lot of it has to do, like you said, with maybe not having that village there. So you have a lot of mothers and grandmothers and women that are kind of sheltering the girls. But it's really difficult, and I've learned this just from being in education, for a woman to be what they need to be for a male. I know some people argue about that. I'm not saying you can't be successful. I know a lot of single women have raised really successful kings. But at the same time, it's something that a man needs to show a male. And a lot of young men don't have that across the board. You know, the divorce rate or just the single parent homes. It leaves a lot of these young men vulnerable to gangs or just to other people that take them in that don't mean them anything good. And it's hard for a woman to kind of reel them back in because, you know, once they get a certain age and, you know, they're stronger, their will is stronger. It's kind of like they're out, you know, they belong to the streets, you know?
Yeah. I think you hit that right on the money, because even with the tour, we have the Women with Purpose tour, but we're going to be introducing the Men with Purpose tour in March. Awesome. And then next year we're going to collaborate together, and then we'll break off in 2024. But the one thing I was telling Jay, whom you just met, of Disabled Power, is that I need 2 to 3 men that will come aboard and actually be the voice and the face of the Men with Purpose tour. Because I could bring us all together. I could bring 1,000 men together. But as a woman, I can't speak to those men like another man can.
Shout out to you for doing that. Men definitely need purpose. And they need to be able to bring these young males in and show them they have a purpose beyond the rims or, you know, sports or anything. And I'm not knocking those things, but that's what they're looking at. And it's not reality for a lot of them, you know. So they need to know you can be a good person. You can go and have a good career, have a family, you know, and do well in life without all that extra nonsense.
I absolutely agree. I'm getting chills right now. Woo! We're going to actually just take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with more Hidden Images podcast. welcome back to Hidden Images Podcast, powered by Next Level Internet Radio. I'm your podcast host, Sabrina Ford, and we're bringing you nothing but the biz. And so we're going to dive into one of my segments that I really love now. It's called Hidden Gems and Quote. So I'm going to read a quote. Sometimes I read it from a famous person, and most of the time I read it from local entrepreneurs. People have been on the tour. And so I'm going to read you the quote, then I'll tell you who it's from. And then what we'll do is we'll kind of talk about it, dissect it a little more, and just give our thoughts on it. Okay. So the quote is, "There were times where I wanted to give up, but I never did. I kept pushing." And that is a quote from Lontage Britton. At the time, she was 12 years old. She's now 13. And that was from our very first Women with Purpose tour in Texarkana. And I'm going to read it one more time because I think it's so powerful coming from a young adult, a young teenager. "There were times where I wanted to give up, but I never did. I kept pushing." Again, that is a quote from Lontage Britton. Her and her mom, they are the founder and co-founder of Pretty and Packing Gun Club. It's a gun club for women to help them learn how to use the firearm properly, use it, load it. They go to gun ranges. She was here in Dallas, but now she's in Atlanta, Georgia. But big shout out to Pretty and Packing Gun Club. They are one of my biggest supporters of the podcast and of my brand and when I started everything and the tour. So what are your thoughts on that quote? "There were times where I wanted to give up, but I never did. I kept pushing." What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, shout out to this young lady, 12 years old, a lot of wisdom. I mean, the whole quote is just fire, but I love the pushing part because that means that it requires action.
Yep.
A lot of times we get stuck and we just want to be still. And sometimes you have to kind of chill for a moment, but you got to stay at it. And I'm glad at 12, whatever she aspires to do, she's going to do great because she realized that it's a grind and you have to push. But again, that activity of it is what lets you know, I'll be able to see tomorrow and it'll be better.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Shout out to her. I love that quote.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. When I saw it this morning, because I have quite a few quotes on my content on my Canva, and when I saw that, I said, "Yep, that's today's quote." And like you said, coming from our youth, from a young adult, a teenager, her being 12 now 13, that is just so powerful. And I think it's so important that we continue to talk to our youth, because the first part of the quote was, "There were times where I wanted to give up." At 12 years old, all you have to really think about is going to school and coming home. You shouldn't have to think.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, right? Yeah, exactly.
Not anymore.
It's and there are times where she said she wanted to give up. That's like, for me, it's like I want to dive deeper into that part of it, because what happened? What was it? Was it something at school? Were you being bullied? And things like that. So, but to end it, but she never did. She kept going. Like, that is just
I love it so much.
Man, me too. I love it. Again, shout out to Lontage Britton. Shout out to Latandra Johnson. Again, they are the founder and co-founder of Pretty and Packing Gun Club. And I love that she's doing that with her daughter. Just like you were just saying, she does. Her mom just instills morals and values and that discipline in her. And she's teaching her now, how to be a great speaker, because she spoke at the Dallas tour and the Texarkana tour at 12 years old. The first tour she was 12, and it was so cute because at the second tour she's like, "I'm Lontage Britton," and it's funny because the first tour I was 12 and now I'm 13. And so major shout out to them. She's going to be, like you said, a great speaker, a great leader. She's going to be just well off when she gets older, because she just has that mentality. But yeah, I love that. Thank you again, Lontage, for joining us on the tour. Thank you again to Latandra Johnson, her mom, and to Pretty and Packing Gun Club, a gun club for women, mainly for Black women. So if you want to know more about how to operate a firearm, head on over to their website, Pretty and Packing Gun Club, and you can get more information there. But back to Miss L.D. Woods. We're going to talk more about new focus in youth consulting. I want to dive into that. So you said you started this particular brand was started in 2020, or you started it while you were in Louisiana?
I started it here. I kind of came up with the idea, but of course I had to get settled here. But I started it. Actually, I got my LLC in December of last year.
Congratulations.
But then I launched everything in May.
Well,
So it's
congratulations.
been seven months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was off of social media for 8 years prior to that. So I got a business coach. Shout out to Marlon Cool Breeze Berry. I'm definitely going to connect you with him for a possible speaker for the Men of Purpose tour.
Oh, great. Thank
He's
you.
an amazing brother, does a lot with at-risk youth. He has an incredible testimony of his own life. Husband, father, just an all-around great dude. But he was my first business coach. You know, I'm like, if I'm going to do a business, it has to be business. You know,
Right.
I'm an educator. I don't understand business. So he was the one that really pushed me to get back on social media and just how to get my EPK together, because I didn't have my website yet, you know. So I did a electronic profile kit, pushed that out there, and that's how I really started my first networking, through him.
Well, good. Congratulations.
Yes.
I love it. More LLCs.
Yes, LLC, so yes, it is official. It is official. And it's going to be some other things that's going to come under that umbrella.
Right.
So my actual LLC is called New Focus Family and Youth Consultation. So this is one of the branches under it, but have some other things that I'm waiting to launch. Just one thing at a time, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You got to perfect one thing before you can get something else.
Oh,
but
yes.
there's a
That's
couple
what
things.
we spoke on 2 weeks ago about goals, is setting goals and crossing them off before you
Yes.
start on something else.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a big believer of that.
Yeah.
You don't want to have too many irons on the fire.
Yep.
My grandfather used to say, if they all hot, then how you gonna contain them? You know? How you gonna contain them? It sounds good to say, like, I'm not a multitasker. You would never hear me say multitasking. I'm not. I have to focus on one thing, because if not, I'm gonna lose focus. No pun intended, but yeah.
I'm a semi multitasker because I'll multitask. Like, all my ovens will be on, the oven, the burners, the stove, the
Are you
microwave will
good
be
at it?
going. But I'm not good
Okay,
at
so
it.
you're not a
that's what I'm
multitasker.
saying. I'm semi. Like, no, my popcorn will be done burned over here in the microwave. I'm like, oh gosh, I forgot about
And there's
that.
some people that they can have a lot of things going on, but for me, I just gotta focus on one thing. If
Yeah.
not, I'll just, and then I'll be mad like I messed that up. But yeah, just do one thing.
That's my new focus for 2023.
Yes.
I do. I have a lot of things on the burner. I like how you said that. And I need to turn some of them off and focus on one, and then start the other ones again.
Yeah, it'll all work out. Like I said,
Exactly.
it's all a process.
It
You know,
is.
But, hey,
And I tell people all the time, like, when you're starting your brand, your business, just start it. There will never be a perfect
it'll be a
time.
perfect time.
Never be a perfect time.
Yeah,
to
and
start
don't
it.
compete with anyone. When I say
Yes.
compete, like, you know, what I'm doing is a service.
Mhm.
And I know it's a service that's needed. I know it's a vision that was given to me. So I know it's going to be successful. I just
Right.
have to follow the plan. But a lot of times we look at other people's business. Oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. But you don't have the same path,
Right.
you know? So don't be in competition to say, well, they've been in business the same amount of time as me and they're doing this. Number one, you don't know if that's true. Because
Right.
people put out numbers sometimes. Let's keep it real. People put out numbers. Anybody can say anything. I'm real. I'm
That's
very
true.
transparent, you know. And that's why I'm very careful and intentional about what I post, how I post it, when I post it, because for several reasons. But the main thing is I want to make sure I'm doing it with an intentionality to promote the brand and not me.
I love that.
Yeah, because it's not about me. Like, really, it's not about me.
I love
And
it.
anybody that knows me know I'm humble, but when it comes to
Yeah.
these kids,
Mhm.
I'm going 110% in. You know, it's about them,
Yeah.
and that's why I have to promote what New Focus is about and this whole youth empowerment movement. But at the same time, you know, when I was saying, like, not being in competition, you can't look and see what other people are doing and say, well, I should be there now.
Right.
It's about sustainability,
Mhm.
you know, and a lot of times we want to just rush headfirst into things and want to make $1 and ready to spend $3. The first 2 years of this business, I'm investing. Every
Mhm.
penny I make, I'm putting it back into marketing, into merch, into whatever. It is not a lifestyle business.
Yep.
Because I know most new businesses go out of business within the first 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want it to not only go out of business, but I don't want it to fade away because I just jumped in head first and didn't think it out. You know, will I make some mistakes? Have I made some mistakes? Yes. But I don't take any more losses. They're all lessons. And that's what I'm going into 2023 with. The mindset of being very intentional, discerning different people, because the energy is big for me. Not just the energy I receive, but the energy I give off. Quick story, I went to a networking event. Wasn't feeling it at all. I was excited about it at first, but the morning I woke up, I was like, I don't want to be here. Got dressed, played the part, got there, was just so down. And just really was like, I need to leave. I don't know what it was. I ended up staying. I sat at an intentional table. Like, I was going to go sit somewhere else. I'm like, no, I'm going to go sit here. I met a person. Shout out to LaShanta Witherspoon. Every Penny Financial. Literally changed my whole life, my business. I tell that story to say you have to be intentional about everything. Had I not sat at that table and met her, I probably would have still be sitting on New Focus. Like, she just gave me a spark and been solid ever since. And this was in October. Just changed my whole perspective.
I love it.
And that's when you know you about the business. When everything is just so intentional, even when you don't feel like. I was literally about to walk out the door. So let me just go sit down. And this lady came and sat at that table and just flipped it all around.
Well, that's the first thing too, is showing up. You showed up.
You have to show
Whether
up.
you do or you
exactly,
don't. Show up.
Show up, yeah.
Put on that smile. Do what you got to do. I had a supervisor who'd always say, fake it till you make it. And that's exactly what you did.
Yeah, because I wasn't feeling it. I don't even know what it was. I just was like, but I will always remember that, because it's been up ever since. And of course, I wasn't like gonna say the heck with the business, but my whole point was she's like hard nosed. She reminds me of me as an educator. She's very compassionate, but she's hard nosed, and like, we have homework to do, and I've just seen what she's done for my brand, what she's done for me personally. And it's all about that sustainability, like I said. And she has the numbers and the proof. Not the social media proof, but the proof to show it. Because I'm proof of what the numbers look like. And I'm like, yes, sis, you was on it.
There you go. That's why I had posted that the other day. Like, you can have 10,000 followers, but if you ain't got...
I commented on that.
If you ain't got people converting, what are some followers doing there? They just looking.
I don't even know what it takes to be monetized on social media. And that's not even my goal. Of course, you want people to engage in you, but... if they're not, like you say, converting, they're not putting you out there, just having followers.
That doesn't mean anything. It's just people watching your page. I need the sales. Click on this website and book.
I was like, when you put that, I was like, let me comment. I had to stop scrolling. Like, definitely.
Book. All 10,000 of you, book.
And again, it's about that timing too. But just having the followers, you should get some convergence from a whole bunch of followers.
You should, right?
Like, where's your proof?
None of them have it. None of them have it.
They're not ready today.
No.
They're not ready.
My biggest thing for entrepreneurs is having that patience. Hey, Q, shout out to Q. He's a videographer. If you ever need videographer services, Q has been our videographer for the tour since we started, and hopefully he can continue to travel with us. When we get our money up to pay for all your travel services. We need some sponsors. But he's our videographer, so if you ever need, or anybody needs videographer, check out IQ Media Productions. But patience, that's where I was going. Patience is the number one thing I feel like all brand owners and entrepreneurs should have, because it is going to take time. You will start your business and look up 10 years later and you're still building. You're going to constantly be building 20 years later, especially on the marketing end of things. But definitely, if you can have patience and give your brand that time that it needs to grow, you look up and before you know it, 20 years is here, and you've got those 10K people, hitting your website and purchasing this and buying that and referring you here and doing that. But it's definitely going to take time, that investing in your brand and investing it over years, in order for it to grow.
Ice Cube said something. I was watching a video, and he said that if you're not ready to spend at least 5 years of investing without making a penny in what you're doing, don't even start.
Oh yes, and I'm so glad that I have that mind frame, and I understand that because I started with photography. That's how the brand all started. Everything that I have, derived from photography, and I don't think I've had a photo shoot in these last maybe 6 months.
Wow.
But I'm not worried about it. because I have other things. I've got the podcast, I've got the tour coming up. All of that photography goes into it. I'm the photographer of the tour. I know I'm gonna get the clients I want. Plus, I'm growing my niche into boudoir. That's not an everyday client. Every person I walk by is not my potential target audience. It's a specific target audience for boudoir photography. Now, once the office is all together, I'll start pushing headshots. I'll start pushing more. But yeah, I haven't had a photo shoot. And it's been a while since I had a photo shoot.
And sometimes that's the niche that we need to start with, and then other things kind of come from there. So shout out to you for just keep going and not feeling like, oh, well, the photography's not working.
No, it's working.
Other things coming in.
Oh, the photography's working. But, you know, I want to grow my niche in a specific area. So I understand that particular area is going to take some time to baby that up, you know, and really find the right clients for that. So, but shout out to all the entrepreneurs upcoming, whether you've started your brand today, hopefully one of my podcast episodes that inspired you to start a brand today, whether you started it 5 years ago or whether you're thinking about starting a brand, you know, shout out to you again, like we just said. There's no perfect time, so just start it. It'll all come together.
It will, and enjoy it. Like that's one of the things for the current entrepreneurs. Enjoy the journey. You know, you don't want to be so stressed out that you don't not be excited about what you're doing. You know, even on those hard days, like sometimes I just look at my logo and be like, "That's my brand.
There you go. That's your baby."
You know, so it's definitely my baby. Don't get me started on that. But you know, seriously, just enjoy it, because at the end of the day, anything you do, of course, with it being a business, you want to profit from it. But that should not be your end goal. No. It should be really to impact someone's life, whether it's a service, it's a product, photography, a podcast, you know, selling, whatever it is. You should want to make people's lives better in whatever way and enjoy it.
Yeah, because people can see through that. People can tell if you're genuinely, like you said, doing this intentionally for the purpose of what you're stating it is for versus just trying to get a sale or just you just want my money. You don't really care.
Exactly.
People can tell. I know I can when I go out.
Yeah. Told you the energy is big. Like it's huge. Yeah.
So when it comes to building your brand, when it comes to, besides working with kids, what else? Like, was there something personal that happened, or is there any?
Like I said, prior to me starting New Focus or even thinking about starting New Focus, I literally started looking like, okay, this is where I'm at in my life, you know, as a single person, not to get into too many details, but I knew a transition was about to take place and I had to make that move. Wasn't thinking about moving away, but then I also thought about like legacy, you know, and I actually have something that's coming out pretty soon. I'm going to be talking about this business being my legacy. And a lot of times when people think about legacy, of course, they think about generations, you know, their children and their children's children and all these different things. But for me, it's about the impact that I know I've already made in the past almost 23 years on the lives of individuals, you know. And it's really important that people realize, again, that it's not just about you and if you're a parent, you and your children and your grandchildren. It's about impacting society as a whole, you know. And when I started thinking about that, the intentionality of New Focus and what it stands for really just pushed me to say, okay, what can I do that could have an impact on society? And it was easy because I've already been doing it. Yeah, I've did it for other school districts. I've done it for, you know, faith-based organizations, communities. But what can be attached to my name, to my legacy, to my integrity? And that's what I strive for every day in any interaction that I make when I'm talking about New Focus. It's personal for me. It's not about me, but it's personal for me.
I get it.
Because again, it's like if you're a parent, you don't want your child to go out and do something that's going to embarrass you or make you look bad. So that's why everything I do for New Focus, I want it to be top notch. On my website, shout out to my website designer, Monica McKinney, DNS Graphics. She's a former parent of mine. We worked on this website for like 4 months. Said, D, I want it right. Whatever it costs, I want it right. You know, like, I mean, I could have done my own website, but I wanted a top-notch website. I know who my target audience are. When corporations, when business, when school districts are looking to see if they want to give me a contract, they can't go on my website and shut down.
Right, exactly.
You know, that's my brand.
Yeah.
And I was very adamant that whatever it cost is going to be worth it. And it has been worth it.
There you
So
go.
whenever I get on a call and people are like, oh, I love your website, I'll text or be like, thank you. You know, and I've done some referrals for her. But I say all that to say, again, it's a personal thing. It's not about me, but it's personal.
Yeah.
You know, and it is my child.
Yeah.
And any good parent is going to mother bear their child and make sure they protect it and put it out there the right way. So just shout out to all the parents out there. Like I said, I'm big on working with the whole family. But, hey, you just have to go and get it.
You do. You really do.
Legacy.
And then you have to want it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Have you ever run into a family where maybe like the dad or the mom maybe wants your services, but maybe the other parent doesn't, or is kind of resistant of it?
No, I mean, so far, like I said, I've been working with a lot of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't worked with like individuals so far. Well, I have with the scholarship. I have a scholarship that I push for me through my grandparents. The Legacy Scholarship was Legacy Scholarship. It's for $1,000 back home in the Voss Parish, and that's going to be coming out this May. But I also promote scholarships worldwide, not nationwide, worldwide. There's so much money out there. Forbes magazine, big reputable magazine, they did an article. Each year, over $100 million is left on the table for scholarships. That's true. Being a former English teacher, you know, a big part of that is the essay writing. Young people now, they don't like to write. Everything is texting, and you know, that whole thing. So I was pushing that. I'm still pushing that, but I pushed that a lot in November. And I did have a family reach out, and I ended up working with them kind of partially. But I want to say this. We have to make sure we invest into our children's education.
Yep.
Paying for scholarship help is a drop in the bucket compared to thousands of dollars of student loans.
That's true.
If your child or children is making good grades, they're doing community service, they're doing all these things, organizations, universities want to pay for them to come to college. It's a tax write-off for them. Plus, they're investing into this individual to be an alumni of their college or to go work for their business. And it's like they're paying it forward. But you have to take that first step. You know, the scholarship isn't going to just jump out to you. So I think that people have to realize you have to invest on the front end.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of young people that want to go to college. And when I say college, it may not be a 4-year university. Cosmetology school, welding, just some type of trade, but those things cost. But there's money out there for you. There's even scholarships for convicted felons. People don't know that. But there's companies in particular that want to pay money, like for truck drivers to go and get their CDL and do all these courses. You have to look at those things. Yeah. And you have to take the time out to say, okay, what's available for me? Make the connections, find the resources, and make it happen.
Is that a service that you offer, the research for them and the writing?
I do. The essay writing, again, is the student writing the essay, but I critique it for them, help them start out. Yeah. And then, of course, with the research for scholarships, I don't offer that because it is very tedious, but I can provide them with the individuals that do and kind of start them off with that. So just go on my website, www.newfocusfyc.com, and contact me. And I'm going to be pushing that ongoing. Like I said, it's so many resources out there that people do not want to take advantage of. Prom is coming up. People are already getting ready for prom, paying thousands of dollars. Hey, we're not going to talk about that too much, but I will tell you, do your child or children have their stuff ready for post-secondary?
That's true.
It's hard to work a 9-to-5 now and sustain in this generation because these young kids, they're used to a lot of nice things. Yeah. It's easy when someone else is paying for it. Yep. But if your parents have to pay for that, and for you to go to school and buy your car and all that, I don't think they're going to be too happy when you can get it.
No, when you can go out there and get it yourself.
Accountability.
And when you, I kind of giggled in my head when you said people, like the young people, don't like to write. I fall right into that with the young people that don't like to write because I'll do my key points. And then I'll get my phone out and I'll voice record everything else I want to say.
Right, yeah, I mean, written expression is almost kind of like obsolete now. But for the essays, what they pretty much want to see is like what most of the questions are the same. Like what challenge have you gone through? So pretty much, if you write 1 or 2 essays, you can use it for several scholarships
and just tweak it
to feed their question. And even some of my high advanced students I work with at my school, I'm like, 800 words is just 3 pages, double space, but that's a lot to them. because they're used to communicating through text.
And stuff. Well, you know what, kids?
That money's on the line.
Text your essay. And
Yeah,
then...
with the voice recorded, it gets, it's clever ways to do it, and I get it, I get it, just taking the time out, but the advantages of it is not only just being able to be debt free, being able to enjoy college.
Yep.
College is supposed to be fun. I was a dropout twice before I got my first degree. It was fun, but I didn't know how to balance the education and the fun part. But you're supposed to enjoy college.
Yeah, you are.
You're like an adult and you're learning and you get to learn what you want. You don't have to say, well, why do I have to learn that? You get to take whatever courses you want.
Yep.
Photography, whatever you're studying is your choice. But if you're strapped for cash and you're trying to pay for this schooling, it's not gonna be fun.
One of my favorite courses was a philosophy class that I took.
Okay.
That really opened my eyes up to really understanding and asking questions. Like it's okay to question everything.
Things, yeah.
I love that. I'm like when she was teaching that class, I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that I know that I like, I don't even know if I really like them. I think I just like them because my mom taught me to like that, or my aunt.
You get to become an independent
Or
thinker.
yes, and it's just like, let me just dive back into things, learning me now as an adult and really understanding what I like. And so now, I don't have any children yet, but when I do decide to have children or have children, I think I'm gonna, even from a younger age, I'm gonna really teach them about being a free thinker. I'm not gonna force, just I want you to be a free thinker.
And that helps. It helps with their creativity. It helps with them having, high self-esteem because they get to voice themselves. And again, young people are amazing. I tell people that, but they still need support and guidance because they're young. So mentally, they're still developing, So, but let them be a free thinker. Let them express themselves. We come from the generation where if they said the sky was purple, you had to agree. Now, these kids, they see so much. They're like sponges. They're absorbing everything.
Oh, they are. Definitely sponges. Man, I'm an auntie of 7 and woo.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Each one of them in a different personality. It's just so funny.
Personalities galore. I love it.
Shout out to Furman. He says, always make sure your motives are pure. Absolutely, I agree. In everything you do, in personal and in business, you have to have those pure emotions, and pure motives, and pure intentions on what you're doing. I like that.
That shows also.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you and Furman connect?
I don't know, like through social media.
Oh, yeah.
Like just through when you're linked in with someone else and then you kind of see, and I had did another podcast.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, let me try to see if I can get on this podcast. And I reached out and he reached back out. So yeah.
Yeah, because Furman hadn't been here in Texas long either, and he's making some great connections.
Right. I think like 2 years or something he said, or yeah.
Yeah. Y'all are awesome. Like I love people who just step out on faith. And just do it.
Yeah, definitely.
I wish I would have took my leap of faith 10 years ago. But like you said earlier, it's all about timing.
It's about timing, yeah. Timing is everything. I don't know if you bake or cook, but
I eat.
well, for those of us that bake and cook, of course they give you like a time frame of how long you're supposed to do stuff, but it all depends on your oven.
Oh.
Like depends on the oven. Some of us heat up fast or whatever. So you got to kind of time it. And that first time, you might kind of do trial and error. But after that, okay, well, this maybe needs to be on 375 instead of 400 or whatever. And that's the same thing with life and the things we want to achieve. Like I said, stay in your lane and look and see, is this the time for me to do this? And if it's something that keeps tugging at you, no matter if you feel like I don't have the resources or not now, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, life is short and we don't know. If I would have said, oh, well, I'm going to just wait until I get out of education and do a nonprofit, I would not be experiencing this.
Right now.
Because again, I don't know if I'm going to be around till 60 to start a nonprofit when I retire. You know, there's no time like now. I always say you have now or never. Choose now.
Yeah. And one of my quotes that I like to say is, there's always a tomorrow until there isn't. Yeah. Like you have tomorrow until there isn't a tomorrow.
And unfortunately we see, that things are happening so suddenly.
Yeah.
And you just gotta go for it, That's That's my thing. Go for it.
When
if
I
it
was
doesn't
younger,
work, you still went for it.
That's true. That's true. And I love that. When I was younger, I was just so naive. I was a naive kid. Like I thought old people were old and they stayed old, and whatever age you are.
Yeah.
I didn't know people passed away. I didn't know, like, and still I'm 36 and I still like, dang, people pass away. Like, and it's forever. It's permanent.
Yeah.
So like we're saying, like, we have to live for today. We have to live for that moment. We have to start that business now.
Yeah.
We can't wait till tomorrow.
Exactly.
You know, and if you are waiting to start your business, at least just be behind the scenes, writing your business plan, planning it out, budgeting, saving, maybe getting materials. Maybe that's what you're waiting on. And then I can understand that, you know, but just to sit and wait and not do nothing, I think that's not a problem, but that's going to hold you back.
Because you'll never have it all together.
Never will have it all
Never.
together.
Most of the people that I'm meeting, the backstory to how they started their business, it was again through something that just kept tugging at them.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, I got to start somewhere, and
Yeah.
it's just been a process, you know. But you're never going to have all things just laid out for you and say, okay, let me go. You know, it's not a business then. You know, you have to be able to take that purpose and that passion and let it propel you to something bigger than what you can understand. It's definitely a leap of faith, you know.
Yeah. Shout out to Furman Jackson. He says, what holds people back are fears. And that's true.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
always do my hashtag faith over fear.
Yeah. And it could be the fear of failure. It could be the fear of success.
Yeah, success. Yeah, I never thought about that. But success is scary because think about it. Once you get there, then how do I maintain?
How do you maintain it?
No.
You're going to have so many different people tugging at you, wanting to get to know you just because of who you are. Well, how did you do this? Or I want to connect with you.
Right.
And it's just, that success, like that maintaining that success is hard. And a lot of people, they get there and then sometimes their past comes to bite them.
Yeah, because you feel like you're not worthy. The whole imposter syndrome of, Candy Burris, I just admire her so much. And one of the things she always talks about is like how she always saw herself doing what she's doing now. You know, she still is an escape, but when she was younger, she saw herself the business person.
Yeah.
So she didn't get so caught up into the hype of, oh, I'm a star or whatever. And then when the group disbanded, she was like 21. So the group didn't stay together for long that first time. They had hit records. She's 21 years old. All her friends graduating college, and she had her meal saved up because she looked at it as a business.
Yeah.
And it was able to just allow her to branch off in so many different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we know what she's doing now.
Oh yeah, everything.
I mean, she is.
Man,
she is the brand queen.
I love Escape. Like that Traces on My Lipstick album, I will still put that on and play it from start to finish. Yeah. Like, and there are not too many albums that you can play from start to finish, but I give Escape credit on that Traces on My Lipstick album. Literally every song.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
it was their last album that they recorded.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, wow.
She was 21 years old and she had her.
I didn't realize they were that young.
Yeah, they were together for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So they were young and. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite groups, you know, of course, right next to TLC. You know, we all know TLC is the biggest girl brand, I would say, next to the Spice Girls.
Right.
They're probably like 1 and 2.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely back in the day.
But definitely.
But even with them, the bankruptcy stuff, you know.
Yes.
And when Left Eye broke that down, people were like, y'all sold all those records, won all those Grammys. And it goes, again, I mean, now people are much more business savvy, but not getting so excited about having a business and making sure your finances straight.
It's true.
And, I mean, that's crucial.
Reading those contracts. You don't have to sign everything. It's okay to counter contract.
It's okay to ask questions.
Exactly.
It's okay to get somebody else to read it.
Yep,
you know,
a lawyer.
If you're doing business and you ask people questions and they get kind of like upset or feel like you're asking too much, that should be a red flag.
That's
because if
definitely
they're legit,
a red flag.
they should be able to tell you whatever.
Yeah.
So, and I deal with a lot of contracts even on my job, and it's like, this gotta make sense.
Yeah, it does. And it has to make sense for both people.
It does.
That's one thing I love about Tony. Tony Hills, he's my financial advisor. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's here in the Dallas area. Okay. Is whatever I present to him, he does not say yes or no. Make it make sense for me, Sabrina, and come back.
Wow. I love that.
And I can't do nothing but respect that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go read
You'd be
over.
so eager thinking everybody, you know, and not saying everybody's out to get you, but you'd be so eager thinking, okay, yeah, we can make this work. But if it doesn't make sense, definitely not gonna make dollars.
Especially for a Super Bowl champion, you gotta make it make sense for him. I'm like, okay, thank you. Let me go back to the drawing board. Let me make it make sense for us both. For you, of course, because it's gonna make sense for me. Yeah. But let me make sense for you, and then okay, I'll be back. Give me a couple weeks. Give me a month or two, whatever. So he's one I have to circle back around for the Men with Purpose tour. So hopefully I make it make sense for him when I circle back around and get him locked in.
And it's good to have different people, to have a team around you, number one, that you can trust and that can kind of slow you down a little bit, you know, and be like, hey, let's slow down, you know. Yeah. So. And
that's the one thing about being in business, that you do have to surround yourself with people who are willing to give you that type of advice and not just yes. I don't want to hang around yes people. Yeah. You know, they're just yes, you do this, do that, or that's right, or no. I like for people, especially in business, you know, to say things like that to me or to say no. You know, I've had a couple entrepreneurs like, no, that's just not for me. Okay, cool. I respect that. Thank you. You know, thank you for not taking on a role or a task that you know you're not gonna do, or it's not gonna benefit you, or it's just not gonna work out. So.
And I've had to do that too. Like one of the first potential clients I had, I also grant write, and someone wanted me to write a grant for them, and I did the research and all the back end stuff, and they were trying to go in a different direction with it, and I'm like, hey, that's not what I'm seeing, because the thing about a grant, you can write the best grant. There's no guarantee you're going to get awarded with it.
True.
But I want to set my clients up for the best possible case to be awarded this grant.
True.
And the direction that this individual wants to go in. Some things about it wasn't really ethical, which was a red flag.
Oh,
you know. Yeah. But then the second thing was the end result wasn't really going to impact lives.
Yeah.
It was some more to be to push the brand that they had and some other things. And I'm like, no. Yeah. So I kind of took not a loss. I learned a lesson from that. Make sure that I have more in-depth conversation to say, okay, what do you want me to provide for you again? Because if not, I'm not going to even start it.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's something that I want to get more into, is understanding grant writing. I'm glad you mentioned that. I actually had that in my head to ask you, do you write grants? So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think it's important that that we share with people, and for people here on live and listening here, that they are connected to a grant writer, because a lot of people don't know how to ask for funding, you know, and how to ask for help for their brand. And they don't know even where to start on grants. I see it all the time on Facebook. So now I know who to refer. Hey,
grants are just like scholarships. You have to be able to do your research, but the money is out there. Again, the federal government has so much money. I don't want to get into politics. There's a lot of money out there. It's money they want to give away, but you have to have your stuff in line and make sure that it fits what you say you're going to do. Getting the grant is one thing, but implementing it to a T. Right. A lot of people get grants and they don't spend all the money, and then it's making it hard for them to get another grant because the need that you say you had it for wasn't met. So being able to push that money out there.
So what's the difference between a grant, a scholarship, and a sponsorship?
Okay, glad you asked that. So when we're talking about grants, let's say business grants, of course, as minorities, there's a lot of grants out there for minorities, women, veterans. So those are things that you apply for based on a need. You say you want to implement a service to a certain demographic. Let's say for you with women. You apply for the grant. You have all your ducks lined up of what you're going to do, how it's going to be implemented, the time frame, what your end results to be. You win that grant. Now it's time for you to go out and network with other people to implement that. You know, and again, sometimes that's hard.
I get it.
So if you get a grant, a person get a grant for $50,000, and they want it to be renewable for 3 years. All 3 of those years, you have to have a plan of what you're going to do to make sure that money is spent.
$50,000.
Well, it'll be 150. Would it be 150,000? Let's say it's 50,000 per year.
Gotcha.
Now that seems like a lot of money, but in order to implement that, you have to have a very strategic plan and receipts of how it's being spent, and how it's impacting people's lives. You know, and that's like the hardest part. Like I said, but the need is there. You know, for a lot of different things, for youth, for women, individuals that have been incarcerated, mental health, all of those things. Scholarships, again. scholarships are not just for your graduating seniors. There are scholarships for, like I said, single moms. There are scholarships for people that have had felons to get them back in the workforce. And those are, again, monies that are rewarded based on the need for you to be able to have some type of education or career development. And again, all of these things are just impacting society in a positive way. No one wants the unemployment rate to be high because then you're pulling from other service areas. And then finally, sponsorship is when you have something that pretty much, let's say my brand, New Focus and Family You Consultant, is being sponsored by a certain entity or organization. And anything that I do, I pay for it up front, and then they reimburse me.
And that reimbursement could be through advertising, products, services.
Yes, not just finances.
Yeah.
So even with the Women of Purpose Tour sponsors, you know, if someone sponsored, they're promoting their brand through giving something to you. And I have a sponsorship for you possibly as well. I'm glad that I thought about that. So I'm going to give you another connect that I have that will be happy, I'm sure, to sponsor both. Yes.
Well, I'm glad you shared that, the differences between the three. I think maybe that's something, I wanna put something together with you so that we can share some content. Maybe we can come up with just a piece of content that just shares and tells the difference between the three. Because I don't think a lot of people understand the difference between the three.
Right. And for anyone that's interested in grants, first of the year, most fiscal years for businesses start at the first of the year, like between now and March. It's time to start looking for them. You can go to us.gov. There's local grants here in DFW. Texas has a lot. Credit unions have a lot of grants that they do. So again, all of this stuff is about doing your research. You know, doing your research. We spend a lot of time on our phones with stuff that ain't really adding any value to us. Do your research. Connect with people. Call. Ask questions. I mean, the money is there. People have no idea the resources and the money that's there at their disposal. But no one's going to come knock on your door and say, hey, we have this grant.
No, they're not.
You know, they expect you to apply for it.
I'm glad you said that because that's, oh, thank you, Furman. Oh, Furman sent stars. Oh, Furman, thank you. I'm glad you said that because at the Dallas tour, that's what I was speaking on a little bit about success and how it's not going to knock at your door. Like you have to go out and get it. You have to create it for yourself.
Yeah, like you said earlier, just showing up. Just showing up, and sometimes that's a struggle for some people. You have other things going on, but you have to. I'm also doing a lot of networking with the Arlington Black Chamber. And shout out to President Charles Jackson. He's always saying you can't sit at home and expect everything to come to you.
That's true.
You just can't, you know, and say you're a business owner. It's not going to work that way. You know, COVID is over with. People are out and about. Everybody outside now. I mean,
COVID was over when we were still in it.
You know, but everybody's still trying to do stuff virtually. Like, don't send me no Zoom link unless it's absolutely necessary. If you're in a DFW, let's link up.
True.
You know, and I'm just being very honest about that because, again, energy, I've said it before, is so important. But also feeling the vibe, you know, of things. You can't do that over a computer.
No, you can't.
You know, you just can't.
Well, I appreciate you for coming because I love when guests come, you know, to the station here. I love for entrepreneurs to meet Douglas. I tell Douglas that all the time. I'm like, I always want people to meet you because Douglas is a great connect to have. You know, and so I want y'all to share information, you know, before we leave, share each other's social platforms with each other and stay connected. You know, he does a lot of work in Fort Worth at the Rail Club DFW, and he's met a lot of big name people, and he brings a lot of acts here into the area, and so I love for people to come and network with him as well and connect with Douglas. So shout out to you, Douglas.
I have somebody for him too. See, my mind is always really like, who's this person? Yes.
Speaking of Douglas, we were talking before the show, and you had an announcement you wanted to make about an upcoming event.
Oh, the ladies, the Queens of Conversation.
Yes.
Their year in review podcast this Sunday at Live Wicks in Arlington. They'll be doing a podcast.
Nice.
Open to the public. Come out and talk with those ladies about everything that happened in 2022.
This Sunday.
This Sunday.
That's
2 o'clock.
interesting.
Yeah.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Will there be champagne there?
I don't know. I don't know what all's going to be. I know the bar will be open.
Okay,
The
the bar will be open.
and some hors d'oeuvres. So, yeah. No, it's going to be a good event, though.
I love it. Well, thank
Yeah.
you for that information. I really love this women empowerment, this women kick. This I just feel like we're taking over. And so that's why, I love the tour. And I love what you said earlier about everything that your brand stands for. It's not about you. It's about your mission. It's for other people. It's empowering those families. And that's the same thing about the tour. I say all the time, this tour isn't for me.
Right.
It's for y'all.
Yeah.
I want your voices to be heard. I want your brand to be showcased. I don't care if I ever speak at a tour. I want you guys to come and use this platform that we created. Myself, my business partner Nadia, and all the other women that have helped make the tour in the beginning possible. It's for you all. It's for other women entrepreneurs, and I can't do it without you all. So I thank each and every woman that have been a part of the tour, that have guest spoke. Nadia, again, she's my COO. She's been there since day one. She reached out wanting to be a vendor, but at the time we weren't really kind of doing any alcohol or serving any alcoholic beverages or even champagne or anything. But we stayed connected, and she's from Mobile, Alabama.
I heard y'all podcast together. I think y'all did a podcast together.
Yeah.
This is real fire.
Oh yeah. They're like yin and yang. I'm good cop, she's bad cop. So I need her, and that's why I love our dynamic. It's because there are certain things where she'll tell me, like, Sabrina, like, no, you need to do this, or think about it this way, or have you thought about this, or try this. I'm like, okay, thank you. And we just kind of feed off each other, and we'll stay on the phone till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, just going back and forth with ideas and just how to make this tour. How are we going to perfect it? And together, this next tour, like, I'm going to see the vision, like us staying up on the phone all night, the vision, we're going to see it on the next tour. Like, definitely, like, I'm super excited. So I do encourage people, again, to collaborate. Find a business bestie. Men entrepreneurs, we're talking to you too. You can have a business bestie.
You better have one. For real. No yes man.
Right, exactly. But men honestly, I think that in the music industry there are a lot of yes men. But when it comes to men really out here just working and building empires, they really don't have a lot of yes men. They really have men that just straight to the point. You
have to have someone that's going to hold you accountable.
Yeah,
you have to want that accountability.
Yeah.
If they're just constantly saying yes to everything, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But the one thing I do want us to, as women entrepreneurs, and I'm guilty of it too, I'm not a perfect woman here, is that we need to learn to work together more like men do. Men can, have tough conversations. They could duke it out, and next thing you know, they're at the bar having a beer together, and everything's fine, back to normal. And I really do want and wish that more women entrepreneurs can do that, throw our emotions out and understand that business means business.
Yeah. I do something on Wednesdays where I do women supporting women. And I always try to shout out the different women that I collaborate with. And it's good that you said a business bestie, because I think there's a fine line between that bestie, like a friendship, and someone that you can say, we on the phone at 2 a.m, trying to impact lives, trying to see the vision through. And with women, I think you hit the nail on the head. We have to take our emotions out of it. If you trust this person to know they have your best interest in mind, even if they tell you something you don't like, you have to be able to roll with it, because the end result is success.
Exactly.
And because of just different things with mistrust and past relationships, that's really something I know for me personally that I'm trying to get better at. And that's why the energy piece is so big, but then also knowing that I'm going to stand my ground with integrity, and I want to be able to meet people that have that same energy, and that same goal and drive. But yeah, shout out to your girl Nadia. Like I said, I heard y'all podcast. And y'all were vibing. Yes, I loved it.
Yeah, and we talked about the other day, like we're business besties, but our like on a friendship level, we're still learning each other. We're still growing. Yeah. So we're still developing a friendship every day. But business, like we business, that's what we do. Right. Like that, I would say that that's the basis of our friendship, but that's not all of what our friendship entails.
Has to be that balance also.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah.
Awesome.
I'm calling her when I'm done. I already messaged her. I'll call you after the podcast. Yeah. So you know what? Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll come back. I have one more segment, and we'll talk more about your brand, and then we'll wrap it up.
Good morning, no flavor. Today we started the day off with police needing your help locating a few suspects. Police said the gang kidnapped the man and held him over the bridge.
1, 2, and go. I done came down. Come on. Can I help you, sir? Wait a minute, nigga. Let me look at the menu. Over, under. Niggas on my
See, you need to stop dating online and meet a brother the old-fashioned way.
Over, under.
What about Mike? Y'all be flirting all the time and you know you want to get some of that coochie. She can't even hear me. She got her headphones in.
Look, Black, I need this done as soon as possible, man. Alright? The address is on this paper right here.
Black, come on, man. Let me make that drop for you. Come on, let me do it, man.
Kilo, you just almost got shot a second ago. Man, look, I apologize, man. I don't have your drugs right now. I get paid by $500 every week at the shop, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we can work out a payment plan or something.
Motherfucker, is this like a credit card company or some shit?
Ever since niggas seen the first season of Power, he been wild.
Rich town.
Yeah.
Look, man, I don't know what this is about.
He for damn sure ain't no motherfucking ghost.
Al Black. Meet me at the drop.
Bag's not here.
What?
Oh, no. This can't be happening, bro. I left the bag right there.
Now who could have took it?
Had to be Mr. Jake's no neck ass, man. He the only one with a key.
You do this for me, and we good on that thing, Joe.
How much do y'all want? 50,000.
Black inside, 400 degrees.
You players?
We gon' send your family message. Might just hang you over bridges, buy your bridges, buy my medicine.
Let me get that red bird. I believe I can fly.
Lay them bird down south, word of mouth, that was ludicrous. You gon' make a nigga push up on you for the foolishness. Hella do bad, put that pistol on you, that's my hooligan. Please don't test my patience.
Particularly his business, yeah.
Of course,
to give and take, but opportunities are there.
Yeah. Welcome back to Hidden Images Podcast, powered by Next Level Internet Radio. I'm your podcast host, Sabrina Ford, and if you're just tuning in, oh my gosh, we're a third away from this show, and you've missed a great one. I'll be honest with you. You got to go back and tune in, catch this replay on Hidden Images Podcast on YouTube, and I'll also upload it on my Facebook page. And so, yeah, we're back. We're going to dive right back into it. So I want to jump into one of our other segments. It's called Would You Rather Hidden Images Edition. And so, have you heard of the game, Would You Rather?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see what you got for me today.
Okay, so, and anybody here on Facebook Live, jump in as well and answer this. So, would you rather give up happiness and never have to worry about money again, or be happy for the rest of your life on a fixed income?
Oh, definitely be happy on a fixed income.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too.
Yeah.
I want all that money, but if I'm not happy, then what's the point of being
enjoy
rich?
it. Yeah, you can't enjoy
And I
it.
wrote that, and I kind of like, well, that's a given, but at the same time, you never know how many people would choose money over happiness. You know,
people that would, but
Yeah.
not here. Yeah, give me the happiness, the joy,
Definitely.
the peace,
Definitely.
the contentment, and we'll rock with what we have.
Yeah, because if I'm happy for the rest of my life, then obviously I'm not broke. Because
Right.
I'm
You
not
have what you
mad
need.
about that. Yeah.
You have exactly what you need.
Exactly. That was my thought process behind it. But definitely, I would much rather be happy for the rest of my life. No worries, no anything. Don't get upset. Nothing makes me mad. Just straight happiness and cheers and joy. And I can work with that fixed income. Go buy me a cash card.
Yeah.
Cook at home. But definitely. But yeah, let's dive back into it really quick before we wrap it up. Furman says, because money don't define you as a person. That's true. Absolutely true. Yep, that's true. It's important. Furman says it's important to be drama free. Furman, you make me laugh. I'm gonna call you later too. But before we wrap up, let's just pretty much just kind of just sum up everything. You know, I like for people to, you know, of course, explain about their brand again, tell everybody where they can find you, website, and all that good old information.
Okay. So again, this is LD Woods. I am the owner and CEO of New Focus Family and Youth Consultant. I can be reached on my website, www.newfocusfyc.com, on Facebook at New Focus Family and Youth Consultant, and on IG at New Focus FYC22. So those are the major platforms that I use.
I love it. I love it. And
So
again, y'all, please connect with Miss LD Woods. We talked about grant writing, and that's just something I learned about you myself, is that you are a grant writer, and we see a lot of people online looking for grants and wanting to know who's a grant writer. And now I have somebody I'm going to start connecting you with. And y'all remember, if I send you a connect, y'all better be ready to pay. Be ready to book. Don't waste none of my connects time. That's all I ask.
Thank you for that.
Don't do it. And I tell people when I send them, hey, if I give you this information, don't waste her time. That's all I ask. You can have the information, but just do your research first before you reach out to them.
Right.
And like go to her website and just do all of your research first before you reach out and make that connection. Because there are a lot of serious entrepreneurs out here, and they will make you pay for every minute of their time. You're not going to get no information from me. Book this consultation.
Right.
Shout out to Luscious Barbie of Another Dallas, Texas check, because, honey, you're not getting her time. Book this consultation.
Yeah. And I want to say something to this. I learned that years ago. I worked at a legal firm when I was an undergrad. And the reason for that is, again, because as a business owner, your time.
Yeah.
As just a person, your time is
Time
valuable.
is money, yes.
But as a business owner, your time is a part of your brand.
It is.
And if you have people constantly bombarding you with questions and you have to return emails and different things, that's taking 15, 20 minutes away from something that could be productive.
That's true.
So it's not about, oh, wow, I have to pay you. It's, some doctor visits.
Exactly.
To show up at their office, they're billing you.
Ooh. When I was looking for a divorce lawyer, one of the lawyers was like, just to consult with her was like $300 an hour. Just to consult.
They're not even telling you if they're going to take your case.
Exactly.
They just want to hear what you have to say. Yeah, definitely.
I was like, oh man, let me just try it on my own.
But again, it's time consuming. And then you weren't probably going to talk to the lawyer. It might have been
her assistant, or
And that's what I was. I didn't even have a law degree, but I knew enough to get discovery, get the information, pass it on to her. It's just a part of what they do. Is their business.
Yeah, and respect that. Yeah, because that's a big debate too online about entrepreneurs and their time, and I absolutely agree. Don't waste an entrepreneur's time, because time is money. Big shout out. No, I don't want to mess your first name up. Latage.
It's good.
Latage Woods. She keeps it 1,000%. That's what Furman says.
Thank you, Furman.
And then Sabrina, keep up the great work. Much respect to you. I'm giving you your roses. Thank you. I appreciate them. Lo aprecio mucho, Furman. I'm going to give you some roses back. We need to start giving roses back to men, Definitely. I love it. Well, you know what? Thank you, Furman, for tuning in. Thank you for everybody who tuned in today. This has been another great episode. We'll be back next Monday, every Monday. I think I'll be out February 13th. I know that's a couple months from now, but I'm trying to think of any other dates I won't be here. But February 13th, I won't be here on the podcast. So I think what I want to do is look for a podcast host, somebody who will come in and host my podcast for me that day. So I'm going to start advertising that.
I love it.
And we'll try to see who can get in here and take over for me for one day. Woo. Don't do me wrong, though.
See, but shout out to you for even entrusting that to someone.
Yeah,
That's major.
I want to do that. So I'll look for somebody for February 13th. If you're listening and you want to, get your feet wet in podcasting, I'll be out on February 13th, but I will be looking for somebody to co-host at my show that day. So that's going to be a great opportunity for someone. Big shout out to Douglas Elliott for giving people opportunity, Furman says. Yes.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Furman.
Yes. Awesome. Yes. Because I tell people all the time, I'm like, I remember meeting Douglas. I don't know how we connected, but we connected. And then next thing you know, he offered me the opportunity to do the podcast. And I'm always so appreciative. So, yes.
I'm going to go find me a crock pot. I'm sorry. I just saw a recipe for, y'all have to excuse me.
No.
Coca-Cola pulled pork.
Oh, yes. Have you not had Dr. Pepper pulled pork? Oh, delicious.
I'm looking at it right
Have
now.
you had it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
Yes.
And root beer, too.
Oh, yeah. Root beer.
Kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I messed everything up, but yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to have
yes.
to look into that.
Definitely. That's funny. You didn't mess anything up. I'm always hungry.
Yeah.
Oh, no, tengo mucho hambre ahora. I'm hungry.
So are you fluent in Spanish?
Not fluent, pero conozco suficiente. Like, I know enough. Okay. But I'm not fluent yet. But I do study every day. That's one thing that whether I'm reading or I'll turn on a podcast. Shout out to Amiga's podcast. They're a female podcast. I do catch them on Facebook. And so I listen to their podcast to help me learn. I watch La Reina del Sur. Of course, a lot of music in Spanish. You turn on my radio now. But I love it. But yes, that's a goal of mine, is to build fluency in the language. And so that's why a lot of the flyers that you see, especially for the tour, I put them in English and in Spanish.
Shout out to you for that.
Yeah. I want them to know y'all are part of this tour too.
So I'm going to be bringing a translator onto my team because, again, in order to give information, you have to think about your target audience.
Man, I love that.
Being here in Texas,
Yeah. I can translate, but it depends. Sometimes it gets difficult. If it gets too deep and too in depth, then I'm like, okay. Hold on now.
You feel like Google Translate.
Right. Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah. But this has been a wonderful, again, thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate you. I know we're gonna connect a little further here in just a minute. Douglas, you got any more news people could use?
Y'all were absolutely right about the diet or the Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
And all that. Yeah. This looks amazing.
Hey, I got a crock pot. You ain't gotta go buy one.
Look, I am really okay.
Douglas said he's hungry. I'm hungry too,
For
y'all.
any other dark soda. Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, you know what, you guys, this has been another great episode today. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in on this Christmas day again. Again, Merry Christmas to you all. I hope you all enjoyed your Christmas break. And have a happy new year. And always, que tengan un buen día ustedes. Until next Monday.
Grab you some black eyed peas for the new year, too.
For good luck.
Yeah, for good luck.
Para buena suerte.
into your business, but when you come to one of our tours, you're still going to leave with some type of knowledge.
Hey there, podcast listeners. Want to hear more from Hidden Images Podcast? Download Next Level Internet Radio app and start tuning into some of the hottest underground artists from all over. Plus, Hidden Images Podcast airs every Monday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Download now.